A single surge from the orca generates a powerful impact within the cold ocean. Yet strength has never been its only advantage. It hunts through planning, coordination, and intelligence refined across generations. Each encounter becomes a precise reading of timing across an ever-shifting sea. This is a world where the orca defines its place as an apex predator. The orca is one of the most formidable predators in the ocean. It ranges from icy seas to temperate waters, accelerating to about 30 miles per hour and moving in highly disciplined formations. Its true strength lies not only in muscle, but in social memory, coordination, and tactics passed down through generations. In the world of wildlife, it is a species that turns the vast ocean surface into a strategic playing field. In Antarctica, the Weddell seal often chooses floating ice as a temporary resting place after long foraging swims. An adult can weigh around 900 pounds, with a thick layer of blubber that helps maintain stability in prolonged freezing conditions. But beneath that calm surface, a familiar pressure begins to form. Orcas do not rely on their roughly 30-foot length to appear. They adjust their angle of approach, hold a parallel formation, and strike the water in unison to generate a wave that sweeps across the ice. In the wave-washing strategy, water becomes a tool to disrupt footing and force the seal away from its stable position. The goal is not to break the ice, but to make the resting point unstable. If the first attempt is not enough, the coordinated rhythm repeats with even greater precision. In the moment the seal slips into the water, a ring of bubbles quickly forms, removing any clear direction of escape. At this point, the ocean becomes a living classroom, where younger individuals observe and retain each strategic movement. Here, collective intelligence turns a harsh environment into an ally, and that survival knowledge continues to pass steadily through generations. Along the cold shores of Patagonia, sea lions, close relatives of seals, often gather to rest after their hunting journeys. Each adult weighs around 770 pounds, with a strong bite and reflexes quick enough to rush back to the water at the first sign of disturbance. But here, the margin of safety can shrink to the span of a single tide. Offshore, a pod of orcas waits with patience, reading the waves and scanning for gaps in the formation. When the decisive moment arrives, One individual surges forward, using momentum to carry out one of nature's most daring tactics, pushing itself onto the edge of dry sand. A slight miscalculation could leave the hunter stranded. With precise timing, the orca isolates its target, then quickly propels itself back into open water. Out in deeper waters, where sea lions gather in high numbers, the pressure becomes more apparent. From multiple directions, the orcas tighten their formation and reduce the sea lion's room to move. Each movement is carefully coordinated, guided by experience and collective discipline. In these waters, individual speed is no longer the greatest advantage. The balance shifts toward the species that understands the ocean as a strategic map. On the ocean floor, the stingray presses its body against the sand, nearly blending into the stillness of the deep. With a wingspan reaching up to 6 feet and a sharp, venomous barb, this camouflage is its primary defense, yet it cannot deceive the most refined senses. To neutralize that defense, the orca does not strike head-on. It moves along a wide arc, maintaining a safe distance, then suddenly lashes its tail to generate a powerful shockwave through the water. This force creates a strong disturbance, enough to disorient the target without direct contact. This contactless hunting technique stands as clear evidence. The orca does not dominate the ocean through muscle alone, but through unmatched strategic intelligence. In a world of constant motion, dolphins are among the ocean's most agile athletes. With speeds reaching about 22 miles per hour and the ability to pivot up to 180 degrees, they seem nearly untouchable. Yet their sensitive biological sonar detects signals from massive shadows weighing around 12,000 pounds, hunters that never pursue blindly. Under the guidance of a leading individual, the orca pod forms moving walls, gradually reducing the target's available space. At times, one rises above the surface to observe, while others maintain rhythm below. When an opening appears, coordination peaks. A precisely timed move disrupts the target's balance in an instant. This is not a clash driven by hostility, but a natural transfer of energy within the ocean's cycle. As the surface settles once more, the orcas continue their journey, ready for the next challenge in nature's endless rhythm of survival. Humpback whales are the wandering artists of the ocean. With a massive body reaching around 88,000 pounds, they move with quiet authority, guided by pectoral fins stretching up to 16 feet, forming a defensive shield strong enough to deter most approaching threats. But orcas do not rely on brute force to challenge such giants. They turn the encounter into a demanding test of endurance. A silent hunting formation follows closely, focusing on a calf weighing roughly 2,000 pounds, staying beside its mother. Each time the pair surfaces to breathe, the orcas tighten their formation, pressing them to dive again and reducing their recovery time. The peak of this strategy lies in behavioral manipulation. One orca positions itself beneath the calf, mimicking the supportive motion of the mother to draw it slightly away from protection. In a brief moment of confusion, that vital connection is disrupted. The formation closes as the mother's endurance is tested after prolonged resistance. The whale's song fades into the distance, leaving behind a quiet truth of nature. Even the strongest protection can weaken in a single mistimed moment. Leaving the frigid polar waters, a gray whale mother begins a vast journey of more than 10,000 miles towards the south. With a massive weight of around 90,000 pounds, she is not only migrating, but carrying out a high-stakes escort for her vulnerable calf. This journey becomes the ultimate test of instinct and endurance across the open ocean. Along the western coast of North America, the migration route turns into a tense strategic arena. A pod of orcas, highly skilled tacticians, lies in wait at key transition points. Rather than relying on brute force, they invest in endurance. A prolonged pursuit unfolds over days and nights as the pod steadily applies pressure, searching for even the smallest opening to separate the bond between mother and calf. Within that pressure, the mother responds with unwavering instinct. She turns her body into a living shield, keeping the calf close while carefully guiding it toward shallow coastal waters, where terrain becomes a natural ally that limits the predator's approach. The calf's survival depends entirely on maintaining steady breathing and an unbroken connection under constant pressure. This is the subtle filter that helps sustain balance within the gray whale population. Across this long-distance journey, survival does not belong to the fastest, but to the most steadfast instinct to protect. The great white shark stands as a symbol of solitary power. Weighing around 5,000 pounds and equipped with immense bite force, it can overpower large prey with a single precise move. If the great white represents raw strength, the orca embodies discipline and collective intelligence. This encounter is not just a hunt, but a contest between two peaks of evolution. In cold and temperate waters, orcas assess and exploit the shark's weaknesses by observing even the smallest reactions. They use high-frequency sound to interfere with the shark's sensitive electroreception, disrupting its sense of direction. When the decisive moment arrives, a leading individual delivers a calculated impact, turning the shark onto its back and inducing a temporary state of immobility. In just a few moments, the explosive advantage of the solitary hunter is completely neutralized. The orcapod then targets the most energy-rich food source, one of the ocean's most valuable energy sources. Here, the line between predator and prey is not defined by strength, but by the species that can turn knowledge into a decisive advantage in the ocean's hierarchy. The strike from this reptile rises like a cold verdict from the ground. With no warning and no room to recover, it forces the opponent into immediate disarray. Each movement is brief, sharp, and precise, leaving almost no margin for error. A single misstep is enough to unravel the entire balance. When venom becomes a weapon of silence, what limits can still stand against such a strike? In the humid forests of Asia, the king cobra reigns as the longest venomous snake on Earth, reaching lengths of up to 18 feet. A single bite can carry enough venom to bring down a target weighing as much as 1,200 pounds. Yet that power is challenged by the mongoose, a much smaller animal equipped with natural resistance and lightning-fast reflexes of just 0.02 seconds. The clash intensifies the moment the distance closes. The king cobra rises high and launches precise strikes with relentless pressure. In response, the mongoose slips aside with remarkable accuracy, forcing the snake to keep rotating in search of an opening. In this contest of timing and precision, if the target cannot be controlled, the king's endurance begins to drain with every breath. The confrontation often ends in a tense chase, as the king cobra gradually tires after a series of missed strikes. Yet the harshest truth of nature is written into its very name: snake eater. The king cobra does not hesitate to confront large pythons, using venom to reduce the resistance of a powerful opponent. When food grows scarce, it may even turn to hunting its own kind to maintain energy. This is a stark survival strategy, where the stronger force rewrites the rules through instinct alone. Here, survival leaves no room for hesitation. It belongs to the one that controls rhythm and timing. On the isolated island of Fernandina, an uneven struggle begins the moment life takes shape. Newborn marine iguanas, measuring just 8 inches in length, must face a dangerous maze set by hungry racer snakes. Under the intense heat of 110 degrees Fahrenheit, the black volcanic rocks become a harsh arena, where the smallest creatures must outrun high-speed predators to survive. The moment a young iguana emerges, the silence is broken. Racer snakes surge from the rocks like moving cords, reaching speeds of up to 10 miles per hour. The pressure builds as dozens of predators converge from all directions with lightning-fast reflexes. In this confined space, every step forward becomes a test of survival. A single loss of momentum can allow the encirclement to close, bringing the escape to an abrupt stop. But if the young iguana manages to reach the steep rock faces, the pursuit quickly loses its advantage. As the chase fades behind it, the small survivor completes the first trial of its life. Beneath the slow-moving waters of the eastern United States, the king snake appears like a ghost at the surface. It does not hunt by sight, but through an extremely sensitive Jacobson's organ, capable of tracing chemical particles within a range of 12 inches. In the dark world beneath flat stones, this becomes a tracking system of remarkable precision. Its preferred target is crayfish during the molting cycle, a process that takes place every 3 to 4 weeks. At that moment, the hard chitin shell that normally serves as an almost impenetrable defense temporarily becomes less protected. The king snake waits patiently for the instant that natural shield begins to fade, then moves in with a well-timed bite that turns defense into exposure. But this hunter does not stop there. As it leaves the rock crevices and moves into shallow water, it also targets unsuspecting frogs. Here, the king snake reveals its muscular strength, applying constriction pressure of up to 180 millimeters of mercury, greater than the peak blood pressure of most mammals, quickly reducing the target's ability to respond. This mechanical ambush unfolds so quickly that the line between safety and danger is reduced to a matter of moments. Here, there is no room for delay. Survival belongs to the one that reads the signals correctly and acts at the exact moment the opponent is least prepared. Under the scorching desert sun, the rattlesnake is not just a predator. It is a masterpiece of natural engineering. Reaching over 4 feet in length, it is equipped with highly sensitive heat-sensing pits, capable of detecting even the slightest temperature shifts from nearby animals. Its most formidable tool is a pair of hollow fangs, ready to deliver venom in just 1/10 of a second, faster than a human blink. The tension rises as the silent hunter closes in on a group of unaware kittens. But when the mother cat appears, the pursuit turns into a direct and high-stakes confrontation. The snake lifts its body and vibrates its tail at an astonishing rate of up to 90 times per second, producing a clear warning sound. In response, the mother cat relies on exceptional agility, evading rapid strikes in fractions of a second before delivering swift, repeated swipes to drive the intruder back. Elsewhere across the grassland, the roadrunner takes a different approach, engaging with risk through speed. Capable of reaching up to 20 miles per hour, it makes sharp directional changes that neutralize the snake's attack in an instant. The advantage of venom quickly fades against the refined reflexes of these high-speed specialists. As the rattling sound fades into silence, the balance of the land is restored. In this desert, maternal instinct and the drive for survival stand as the final stronghold. Across dry grasslands, a small animal weighing around 30 pounds often enters confrontations that many others would avoid. This is the honey badger, an animal known for its resilience, endurance, and its refusal to back down in the face of danger. Its opponent this time is a cobra, a species that carries one of the most potent venoms in the wild. As the snake raises its body, displaying the presence of a skilled predator, the honey badger moves in to meet it directly. Despite having skin nearly 1/4 inch thick, tough like protective armor, it still faces rapid strikes aimed at disabling its response. In a brief moment of miscalculation, venom is delivered, causing the small animal to lose mobility and remain inactive for nearly 2 hours. Yet the encounter is not over. The honey badger's unique immune system gradually neutralizes the toxic proteins, allowing it to regain movement and continue the unfinished pursuit. Here, even the most potent venom gives way to a refined survival mechanism, and victory does not always belong to the one with the most dangerous weapon, but often to the one that endures the longest. Across the African savanna, authority is not always defined by size. The black mamba emerges as a figure of speed, reaching lengths of up to 14 feet and turning the surrounding space into a field of intense pressure. Rather than retreating, this reptile displays a strong territorial instinct, raising its body to face even the largest predators at eye level. The tension escalates when a lion unintentionally crosses its boundary. The mamba does not withdraw. It transforms stillness into a precise, rapid advance, reaching speeds of up to 12 miles per hour. Hidden within its dark mouth is a powerful neurotoxin. Even a small amount can quickly disrupt the lion's coordination. Under this biological effect, the lion begins to lose smooth control of its movement, creating a chain reaction that disrupts its balance. Faced with this reality, the pride quickly chooses to guide its young away. This swift retreat is not a sign of weakness. but a calculated survival response to a threat that cannot be countered directly. Here, survival is not defined by pushing to the end, but by recognizing the signals and respecting the limits set by nature. Snakes do not dominate through size, but through a lean and remarkably efficient hunting system. From rainforests to wetlands, more than 4,000 species have evolved strikes that are both rapid and highly precise. With a reach extending over 1/3 of their body length, venom becomes a survival tool that helps conserve energy. Within the ecological balance, they continue to regulate prey populations as highly refined evolutionary architects. In the open ocean, the orca asserts its place through intelligence and strength. Each encounter reflects the strict discipline of nature. In that world, the advantage belongs to the one that controls the timing. If you want to follow more encounters like this, you can tap like and subscribe. Beyond the settling surface, the ocean's journey continues.